approve the minutes of the September 13th, 2016 regular meeting.
Move the minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second his minutes. Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the minutes of the prior meeting? All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs, and we have one turned in by Supervisors Fletcher and Campbell, Drainage District number 340, Elkhorn, Section 4, investigate tile line for blockage.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to receive, place on file the 4 red drainage repairs.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments on the drainage repairs? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2 carries. Item number 3 is to accept and place on file the ending of employment of Adam Modine and Taylor Chancellor, temporary park ranger interns, effective September 25th, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Matt? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 3 carries. Item number 4, accept and place on file the resignation of Robert Wright, part-time correctional officer, effective September 9th, 2016.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 4.
Second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 4 carries. Item number 5 is to approve the hiring and employment of Jesse Kettnicker, iStart Coordinator by County Social Services at the rate of $19.50 per hour, effective October 3rd, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments on item number 5?
Just I'll state on behalf of Mr. Hayes, who is going to be here today, that this is a position that serves part of this part of the region, community services. Total compensation will be paid back by County Social Services.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5 carries. Item number 6 is to receive and place on file the following manure management plan updates. Olson site in section 10, Rowland Township, Marta site in section 34, Fulton Township, Messerly site in section 4, Elkhorn Township, and Rose Matton site in section 29, Gowrie Township.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments on item number 6? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6 carries. Item number 7 is to approve and authorize the chair to sign master agreement for imaging products and services with COT Systems, Inc. for Webster County Auditor Records.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 7.
Second his motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. Carol, would you like to explain?
Sure. This would be the electronic imaging for the auditors' transfer books, the land and the lots, the plat books, drainage record books, and miscellaneous survey records.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7 carries. Item number 8 is to approve lease for 2 acres more or less of county-owned land in section 36, township 88 north, range 30 west, at the rate of $200 per acre between Webster County, Iowa, and the adjacent landowner, Mark Lindquist.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the lease.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Yeah. If it's 2 acres more or less on it, you don't know what you really concerned.
That would be from Eric.
Okay.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 8 carries. Item number 9 is to approve abatement of current taxes in real estate district number 00600, parcels number 11151000001 and number 111510002, Camp Winoki, in the amount of $732. Said property now owned by Webster County, Iowa.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 9 carries. Item number 10 is to receive and place on file resignation of Keen Brown, Class A equipment operator in secondary road department, effective September 23rd, 2016.
Mr. Chairman, move item 10.
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 10 carries. Item number 11 is to approve and authorize the county engineer to fill vacancy in secondary road department due to resignation of Keen Brown.
I'll move item 1. Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments on item number 11? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11 carries. Item number 12 is to approve and authorize the public hearing and bid letting at 10:30 a.m. on October 4th, 2016 for stormwater drain tile project associated with the county maintenance facility at 1950 225th Street, Fort Dodge, Iowa.
I'll make that motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Randy?
If you have any questions about this, it's necessary to comply with stormwater runoff requirements. And, at the hearing, and at the letting, and further discussions and more details.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 12 carries. We're going to move citizens' opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda to this point in the meeting before we reconvene our meeting upstairs. Yep. For other than item number 13, do we have any citizens that have anything they'd like to discuss with the board? Items not on the agenda that do not pertain to item number 13. Okay? At this time, I'll ask for a motion to reconvene our meeting upstairs, third floor, large courtroom for item number 13 and 14.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recess for 10 minutes until we can move upstairs.
I'll second.
It's 10:06. We'll reconvene upstairs at 10:16 on the third floor in the large courtroom. All in favor?
Aye.
Supervisors regular meeting, September 20th, 2016. We will reconvene the meeting. It is 10:16. Now we're going to move to item number 13, review construction permit application and master matrix scoring of Granite Farms 4 LLC for 2 new 2,500 head deep pit swine finisher confinement buildings for new confinement facility. Review comments and comments received. Currently, we have a petition against this for 214 signatures. We've received 26 letters opposing it, 1 for, a copy of the petition. All letters are on file and available for public viewing in the auditor's office. Before we open this up to the floor, we understand many of you have strong feelings and would like to express them to the supervisors this morning. We welcome your comments, yet the board would like to ask you to follow the guidelines, these guidelines. Due to the possibility that many of you wish to speak, please try to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Remember, this is not an opportunity to debate with either this board or others in the audience. Therefore, please direct your comments to the board and refrain from possible discussions about the subject with other audience members. Please also refrain from applause or emotional outbursts. Many of you will have the same options and observations about this contentious subject. We want to hear them, but also want to avoid a great deal of repetition. Therefore, in the best interest of time, please try to avoid repetition. When it appears the subject has been covered well, we will close the discussion section of this item. We appreciate your cooperation and understanding as we will now proceed. Do I have a motion to bring item number 13 to the floor?
So moved.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. We will now open the public comments. Item number 13. Would the first person that would like to speak, step forward, state your name and your address.
Alan Marker. I'm the owner of the land, okay, right across the road from where this proposal is going to be built. And the reason I'm here is because of the runoff problem that is going to create. And that is the water runoff goes through the ditch. And I showed with a couple of pictures. Goes through two big culverts, probably 4 or 5 feet culverts, and into my line. And then the county engineers are having a hard time keeping the bank that'll hold this water back so that, you know, the retaining wall keeps pushing it because it comes so fast into the creek. So my proposal is that I don't think this thing should be built in the area where it is recommended because of the fast runoff.
Thank you, sir. Next person, please.
Can I stand here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the city of Clare is very opposed to this for smell, flies, and water. You're
I'm
sitting
sorry.
on,
You have to
oh,
unmute.
I'm sorry, I'm Sharon Gross, the city clerk. If the city's very opposed because of flies, smells, we have a lot of people in town that's highly allergic to hogs. They're on oxygen, they won't be able to have their windows open. And the biggest problem that's gonna be out there is the contamination of Webster Creek with the runoff. And I went out there, it's a 3-inch rain the other day, and it was just rolling right out of the field into the ditch, into the dredge ditch. And also, if you, the city mansion has drilled 6 wells in this crater that line sets on and has not hit water yet. So there's no way they're going to be able to dig in that crater to get enough water for the hog confinement. And if they take the top shallow aquifer, then it's going to drain all the area farmers' wells. We have a lot of farmers from out Webster that come to town all winter and all the rest of the year and buy their water for their house because their wells just aren't strong enough to take it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next person, please.
Hi, my name is Terry Muller, and I farm in the Clare area. I've lived in the community my whole life. Some of the concerns I have already been stated, so I'm not going to go into those concerns. Another concern I want to address is the devaluation of the properties and the houses that surround this. There is 7 houses in less than a mile radius around this facility that will be directly affected most or impacted most by the devaluation of their property. Because nobody's going to want to come in and buy a house that's at close proximity to a hog confinement facility with the smell and flies. Outside of those 7 houses in that area, you've got the whole community. You've got Clare that's less than a mile away that won't be affected by this. Also, another point that I want to bring up is on that section 22, there are 3 abandoned acreages that have now been bulldozed and buried. Those 3 acreages did have a well at one time. These have been gone for probably 30 years. The restrictions and the requirements for filling in a well at that time was far less stringent than it is now. So I'm not sure how they were filled in. That would be a concern when we're getting down into those wells, going directly down into the water mains and so forth that are down below that. Plus, there's intakes out in that field. I'm not sure what section it is, but to the very west of section 22, there's another on the ground of the Majestic Farm Zones that is in the manure management plan. There's also a well that's been filled in on that site there. So, and then we're going back to the Lizard Creek area has been designated a recreation area. The county has spent, I've got some rough figures somewhere around $23,000 investing in canoe and kayak access to that creek. I understand long-range plan is they want to add more of those upstream, clear to the northwest corner of Webster County. If there's any runoff coming in from this, goes into the dredge ditch place in District Number 3, which in turn goes into Deer Creek, where you're planning on spending money as a recreation area. And then the last thing I want to comment is I question their manure management plan. This is going back and looking at it at a farmer's perspective. And I'm going off of the numbers on their manure management plan. Is they are giving the analysis for the nitrogen and the phosphorus at 47 units per ton of nitrogen, 39 units per ton of phosphorus. That equates out to, their plan calls for 4,974 gallons per acre to be applied. So that's 2.4 ton, which equates out to 93.6 pounds of phosphorus. Crop removal, their crop yield goal for that is 191.1, requiring 61.2 pounds of phosphorus. So there's 30 additional units of phosphorus every year that are going to keep building and building in that soil. And I do understand that they say they will follow the guidelines set out by the DNR and so forth, but that's still a concern of mine. Every 2 years applications, they're going to have enough phosphorus build up in that soil for their third crop, plus they're going to be buying more phosphorus. So those are my concerns at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Next person, please.
Hi, my name is Lori Ryle, and I am a career resident and business owner. A couple of topics I don't think we've talked about is Granite Farms LLC, owned by Mr. Kirchberg, also own 173 other hog confinements in Iowa. This averages out to be about 500,000 hogs per year that he's producing in those confinements. The amount of manure alone that this plant that they're proposing to have out in the clear area at 5,000 head hog confinement averages out to 1.9 million gallons of manure a year. To me, where's it going to go? You can't put it all in one field. The pressure that is in that acres out there cannot withstand that type of manure going into that ground. You just can't do it. The other concern is Iowa Select Farms has the philosophy that they want to provide a better living environment for children and other cancer patients that live in and around their sites. There's a farmer that lives less than a mile where this is going to be, who has a 7-month-old grandson that's fighting for his life right now with cancer. So the quality of his life is what? He can't go visit his grandfather's farm because he has cancer, because of all the pollutants that are going to be in the air. To me, they're not even considering the livelihood of these people in this area. There are other residents in Clare that have cancer and have had it in the past and are currently fighting right now. So for anybody, including the Iowa DNR, to allow anything like this to happen is just unconscionable. And I think we need to consider those aspects as well.
Thank you. Next person, please.
My name is Lori Vosberg, and I'm in Clare. When we decided to move closer to Fort Dodge, we saw a very beautiful house on 169 that we wanted to buy on the other side of Clare. It was 2 miles away from Spargo, and the owner told us that he very seldom ever smelled Spargo. They were really well intact, and there was no problem. The unfortunate problem for him was the day that they had their open house, I brought my husband to look at the house, and the wind had changed. And it was 2 miles away, and you could smell Spargo all over the place. Now, granted, this is a hog confinement place, but the odor is going to be there, and right now Claire's kind of struggling, and we were hoping maybe we'd get some of these people from the industrial park when it filled up and everything, but nobody's going to buy down there if there's smell like that. And I also have a grandson who has a severe case of asthma, and he will not be able to come to my house.
Indian Mountains. And you've got Indian Mountains going up to Lizard Creek. And by putting in the hog confinement, you know, you're losing the whole beauty of the area by having that stench. I think it's something to be thought about.
Thank you, Renee.
Good morning. Matt Cosgrove, Conservation Director for Webster County. The Conservation Board met last week at their monthly board meeting and discussed this topic. And they asked me to put together a letter that requested you to object this permit based on the fact that, as Mr. Lawler said, the city, county, state, local paddlers have spent over $25,000 working with 4 different landowners to put in Lizard Creek Water Trail on the North Lizard. It also joins the Des Moines Water Trail, so the area is working on becoming a recreational corridor, and having this directly in that watershed goes against the plans for attracting people to come here and recreate in our waters. So they have submitted a letter asking me to deny this permit based on those facts, and then have all signed that letter as well.
Thank you, Mike. Next person. Anyone else? Thank you.
Lonnie Nichols, Webster County Planning Zoning Administrator. The document just shared with the auditor and Chair Campbell is to the Webster County Board of Supervisors on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission convened on September 6th to discuss amendments to the Webster County Zoning Code, including confined animal feeding operations. The commission recessed and reconvened on September 15 to further discuss items that should be considered when citing confinement in Webster County. Although a specific vote was not taken on confinement proposed near Clare, 2 commission members submitted letters individually, and there was consensus in opposition to the location for the same reasons you've heard today, and also through all the submittals that are on record. The commission respectfully requests that the Board of Supervisors make a concerted effort to work with state legislatures, hog producers, and the Iowa Department of Natural Resources to review the process for issuing construction permits and master matrix applications for confined animal feeding operations. It simply seems there is room for improvements in the system that will keep our county and state pro-agriculture while also proactively protecting groundwater, air quality, natural resources, and community livability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Is there any other questions or comments? If not, we'll move on to the scoring of the master matrix for Granite Farms 4 LLC. Item number 14. Recommendation to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources for construction permit application and master matrix scoring of Granite Farms 4 LLC for 2 new 2,500 head deep pit swine finisher confinement buildings for new confinement facility, and authorize the chair to sign a letter to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources.
I would make a motion that we enter into a discussion of the recommendation of the Department of Natural Resources for construction permit application and matrix scoring for Granite Farm.
Which recommendation?
Support. Ms. Springs. Go ahead.
My opinion is that this is the second time we've had this application in front of us. The application really was not changed. They put some of their more argument into their side, but that matrix really didn't change. I believe there was 5 points added for decommissioning or something like that. So from my opinion, the same problems I had before still exist, and they are mainly dealing with the water quality issues out there, the water table issues, and some questions about wells and locations. So from my perspective, nothing's really changed. I think that this board is following DNR rules of the way this is supposed to be set up and recommending either approval or denial of these. And based on my opinion, if we subtract the points from the matrix that I believe need to be subtracted and they don't meet the minimum requirements, and therefore this board should deny this request and then submit our arguments on that side would be mine.
Mr. Leffler, may I ask you, prior to, if you tell us what your matrix for came to prior to today's discussion?
Prior to today's discussion, just for people's information, we denied it before with a subtraction of, I believe, 105 points. Since then, we have found out through the DNR that we took partial points as a subtraction from one of the items, I believe item 7, and under the DNR's rules, we need to subtract all of those. So if we add those, my recommendation would be to subtract 130 points, and that involves the same sections as we thought were not correct before: section 7, section 8, section 26, and section 35, and section 4.
Sorry, could you say those again, please?
Section 4, 7, 8, 26, and 35. And I believe, in a nutshell, all of those are involved with the runoff, the closeness to Blizzard Creek. Our documentation shows that the Department of Agriculture has built some runoff areas, actually built them with sites and everything on the property. So most of them are dealing with that. I understand the odor issues, I understand health issues and those things, but I don't believe they are part of the matrix question that we can look at. We can only look at points that they have taken in their matrix. And so everybody's aware, the company has another company, in this case, score their matrix. And so that's I look at that as their side of the equation. It is our job to score the matrix ourselves and give the recommendation to the DNR. And in this particular case, my personal opinion is, we'll see how the board thinks, that there are significant questions with this particular piece of property. And I want to make it clear, this has nothing to do, I don't care who the owners are. That has no bearing to me. It's just I've determined that this is a very, very bad place to put this in this particular case. So I guess that's my reasoning.
Okay, so essentially, we're going to counteract or disagree with their point total of 445, and we're going to come in around 310 or 315, something like that. Correct. Okay. That sounds really good. I appreciate that. I would like to underscore your comment about how the matrix does not address some of the issues that were brought up by the public today, and
one thing I thought of that I'd add is that, you know, we are going to treat every matrix the same. So again, it doesn't have anything to do with the company or anything. In the last week, we have received matrix or applications for 8 more buildings in the county. So I think this is something that's going to keep us very busy, which is a personal concern of mine, that we're going to be flooded with these buildings. But I think we can hopefully work with the people and find a balance. And again, I just state that I believe this particular piece of property is what the problem is. I would move then that the chairman of the board prepare a letter to the DNR. I think it's a form letter requesting that we deny this application, or recommend that the DNR deny the application. It is not us denying it. Recommend that the DNR deny the application based on our scoring, that the matrix scoring does not meet the minimum requirement of 440.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I would second that.
We have a second. Questions or comments from the floor? Any questions or comments from the table? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 14 carries. The next item on the agenda is to allow claims.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments on claims? All in favor? Opposed? Item carries. The last item on the agenda is the Board of Supervisor Committee reports. Supervisor.
I have one comment which report that would be of interest, I would think, to the majority of the people here, and that regards the timing and or the scheduling of the reopening of Highway 20 eastbound as it's being repaired. The schedule at the moment is November 15th. I did go yesterday out there, and it's graded and really ready for pavement, getting very close to Union Avenue. Union Avenue is really at the end, and we cross back over and get to 4-lane. Yesterday we're finishing up putting the pieces of expansion joints out there, so that would lead me to believe that the point of concrete should come very soon. The DOT official said that the latest November 15th, that it should be built on 4-lane open again. After in the spring, they will do the same thing on the north side, close it down, 1 lane again, and repair that as well. And so you can expect to have a detour on the other side. Nonetheless, the good news in some respects for those of us that are most interested in completion Highway 24-lane westbound is that there's significant amount and additional amount of traffic. Concrete doesn't wear out because nobody uses it. So consequently, with the resurfacing or the refurbishing of it, it's obvious that it is being used, and I believe you can see readily the need for completing this, and ultimately we're all going to see higher traffic counts there. So that's enough.
Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher.
I will report today on yesterday afternoon's meeting with workforce development. A year and a half, 2 years ago, there was legislation that changed the Workforce Development Act, and it's now called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. What is its significance? And I wanted to use of versus